Shalom. This is the White Rose Family Channel. My name is Symmanayah if you're tuning in for the first time, and the title of this subject is Belief in Too Late. My brothers and sisters, most of us anyway, would agree that these are end times. End times, last days, final days. There's a lot believed. Therefore, there should be a lot expected. Our expectations should be clear if we study the scriptures, if we're able to discern what the Almighty Father is saying to us. And it is time for us to realize that if we truly say we believe, do we demonstrate the realities of what we believe? How many of us have ever been in a situation where we said, oops, too late? And it left a scar. It left pain or regret that we didn't act on something timely. Do you know that belief, my brothers and sisters, begins before we can see or even physically hear? For it is inwardly that we receive the influence, that inward man. There's an inward man. There's a spirit inside these earthen vessels we know as our bodies. And that inward man influence and manage when led by the Spirit of Yahuah, when led into set apartness. That inward man helps us and guides us to manage these earthen vessels, to manage our minds, our conscience. You see, many of us don't know the makeup of our being. There is the body, which has a brain that can be programmed or conditioned. And as man know it as psychologically or mentally conditioned, trained and programmed. But inside that brain, inside this body that can be programmed to certain behaviors and acts and understanding of life is an inward man, that the Spirit of Yahuah, for those whom he draw, works in us a good thing as we grow and set apartness to manage this body, to manage this conscience, this brain. You see, when the scriptures talk about the flesh warring against the spirit, the brain, the things we see and hear, the things that influence our surroundings, war against what the spirit wants us to do. This is why it's so important to understand that it begins with belief. Let's unpack the need to discuss belief versus the word too late. Come with me, my brothers and sisters, for it is assessment time. Ask the question. This question, my brothers and sisters, do we truly desire to please the Almighty Yahuah? Or are we just talking? Do we really want to please him? If so, let's continue. Let us review why this subject is critical for such a time as this, my brothers and sisters. Hebrews 11:1 says, "In belief is the substance of what is expected and the proof of what is not seen." It is written in the scriptures, and through prayer we see and we grow to understand what that means. Belief, the substance of what is expected. The proof of what is not seen. And I want to take you to Hebrews 11:6. I'm reading from the East Shore Scripture Version. And it says, Hebrews 11:6, "But without belief it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to the Almighty," when it says Elohim, "has to believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who earnestly seek him." Are we earnestly seeking him? Are we discerning his voice, saying Yahusha's name? And many will grow to understand in these days why we must lift up Yahusha. For it is stated in John 12:32, if we lift up Yahusha, he will draw all men to himself. Drawn by the word of Yahuah, to Yahuah, by lifting them up. And I submit to you, it begins with belief, working to please him, working to do the things that he desires of his children. End times will prove there is much work to be done, my brothers and sisters. It would be wise to seek to discern what is expected from Abba Yahuah. A sense of urgency will intensify in the coming days ahead. Get ready. Come take a look as we get into this belief in too late. My brothers and sisters, by studying and praying and having an earnest heart and mind to get to know the Almighty Father and understand and embrace His wisdom, it can make a difference in how we grow in belief. Come with me to Matthew chapter 7, verse 17, my brothers and sisters. Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14 reads, "Enter in through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction. There are many who enter in through it, because the gate is narrow and the way is hard pressed, which leads to life, and there are few who find it." My brothers and sisters, the gate is narrow, and it said the way is hard pressed. Picture this for a moment, my brothers and sisters. Picture end times ramping up. Picture having to move. We must move. Now picture, what things will you take with you? Now picture putting it all in a big bag. Picture having this big bag on your shoulder, but the way is narrow. So you push and squeeze and try. It's just like someone on an airplane. I don't know if you've ever been on a flight or watched a movie with a flight where they're putting their luggage above the head and they squeezing it and shoving it in there. Or have you been somewhere where you use luggage and you're trying to pack as much as you can in that luggage? Well, picture that, my brothers and sisters, but knowing that you can only put so much in that luggage. Knowing only so much can be carried in this narrow path. So all the baggage, all the weights, all the desires that we have will not fit in this narrow path. Yes, so therefore we must recognize it is hard pressed. Pressed to what will make it down this narrow path. What actions are required of us to get through this narrow gate will require letting things go, my brothers and sisters. Identifying, being able to prioritize. My brothers and sisters, believe this. If you spend a lot of time trying to pack more to take, trying to do more than what is believed to be necessary by the Almighty Father, you may find yourself wasting time and find yourself in a situation where your response is too late. We must discern what preparations are ordered, lest we find ourselves lacking. Remember what is written in Matthew 25, 1 and 2. Come with me there. Matthew 25, 1 and 2. For it reads, "Then the reign of the heavens shall be compared to 10 maidens, who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 foolish." And it goes on to say, verse 3, "Those who were foolish, having taken their lamps, took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their containers with their lamps." My brothers and sisters. And it goes on to say, "Now while the bridegroom took time, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight a cry was heard, 'See, the bridegroom is coming, go out and meet him.'" And it goes on to say in the 7th and 8th verse, I'm in the 25th chapter of Matthew, my sword, scripture version. "Then all those maidens rose up and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, 'Give us your oil, because our lamps are going out.' Unprepared were they." And he goes on to say, "But the wise answered, saying, No, indeed, there would not be enough for us, and you instead go to those who sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding feast, and the door was shut. And he goes on to say, and later the other maidens also came, saying, Master, Master, open up for us. But he answered and said to them, Truly I say to you, I do not know you. My brothers and sisters, what's important is to identify what is being directed from the Spirit of Yahuah, who comes in the name of his word, Yahusha. There will be those granted favor and leave with many possessions as end times ramp up. But there will be others directed to leave everything behind. Though the maidens were prepared, that's encouraging those to listen and be able to discern what preparations must be done. But there will be times we are told to leave everything behind and just have the clothes on our backs. So let us not just take that parable to mean we're going to hoard stuff for ourselves. Let us recognize the favor we have from Yahuah and what things he wants us to carry and what things we should leave behind. For there are moments when we should not worry, my brothers and sisters. Some will take that passage and think that I got mine, you got to get yours. Do not use the example of maidens to avoid sharing. We are not to worry, but equally, in order to do what is right requires belief. Believing what the Almighty Father is directing us to do. We will grow to know what to do and avoid falling into the place of being too late. Responding too late. Let's continue. Stay with me, my brothers and sisters. Belief and too late is something that must be discussed, something that must be considered for such a time as this. Yashar'al, Romans 1:16 and 17. Come take a look with me, O Yashar'al, as I read it from the East Sword Scripture Version. For I am not ashamed of the good news in Messiah, for it is the power of the Almighty One for deliverance to everyone who believes, to the Yehudi first and also the Greek. For in it the righteousness of the Almighty One is revealed from belief to belief. And it has, as it has been written, but the righteous shall live by faith. It didn't say just the Hebrews. The righteous. And when it says, my brothers and sisters, who Yehudi first and then the Greek, this is the order that Yahuah chose. So let us not be ashamed of the choice, the plan, and the actions of the Almighty Father. Come take a look at Romans 3:21 and 3:22. 3:21 and 22, my brothers and sisters. It reads, but now apart from the Torah, Torah means instruction, and the Torah is the instructions from the Almighty Father. It says, from the Torah, a righteousness of the Almighty One has been revealed, being witnessed by the Torah and the prophets. And the righteousness of the Almighty One, it says Elohim, is through belief in Yahusha, Messiah, to all and on all who believe, for there is no difference. And it goes on to say, for all have sinned and fall short of the esteem of Elohim. Again, Elohim is plural for mighty ones. There's only one mighty one. That is Yahuah, whose word come to us in Yahusha's name. So when we see Yahusha, that is the manifestation of this word that makes it possible for us to communicate, possible for us to be in the fellowship and set apartness with the Almighty Father. He goes on to say, being declared right without pain by his favor through the redemption which is in Messiah Yahusha. We must understand, we must grow to believe. He is a rewarder to those who diligently seek him, for whom the Almighty One set forth as an atonement through belief in his blood. to demonstrate his righteousness, because in his tolerance, the Almighty One has passed over the sins that had taken place before. And it continues to say, to demonstrate at the present time his righteousness, that he is righteous and declares righteous to the one who has belief in Yahusha, who believe in his word. We become righteous by the power and might and the guidance from the Almighty Father through his word sent in Yahusha's name. Allow me, my brothers and sisters, to continue. Look at Jude, my brothers and sisters. Jude 1:17 and 18. Jude 1:17 and 18. Come take a look. It says, but you, beloved ones, remember the word spoken before by the emissaries of our Master Yahusha Messiah, because they told you that there would be mockers in the last time who would walk according to their own wicked lusts. Be mindful, be aware, be forewarned, my brothers and sisters. Let us pursue the need to grow in belief. It goes on to say in verse 19 and 20, these are the ones who cause division, not having the Spirit. But you, beloved ones, building yourselves up on your most set-apart belief, praying in the set-apart Spirit. Knowing, my brothers and sisters, belief. Without it, we cannot please the Almighty Father. It goes on in 21, verse 121, Jude 1:21. And it is written, keep yourselves in the love of the Almighty One, looking for the compassion of our Master Yahusha Messiah unto everlasting life. Don't stop. Don't stop, my brothers and sisters. Getting it. Growing in it. Realizing the need to grow in set apartness, my brothers and sisters. Everlasting to everlasting. My brothers and sisters, I speak often of examples of rebellion. For throughout the Old Testament, mainly, are a lot of examples of rebellion or lessons to be learned. Some repented and were forgiven. And in some cases, it led to the death, the physical death of many. I share how rebels did not embrace belief regarding Abba Yahuwah's chosen leaders. And at times when it was too late to prevent their punishment. A good example, my brothers and sisters, review the 16th chapter of Numbers and know why belief was important. It was important for these rebels, Dathan, Abiram, and Korah, and those who followed them, to believe that Yahuwah had anointed Musha and Aharon, had anointed the leadership, chosen the leadership. But in their doubt, they rebelled. And as a result of rebellion, those who followed them were swallowed up in the earth and died. My brothers and sisters, absence of belief will bring much pain and regret. Read that story, 16th chapter of Numbers. I want to also present Genesis 19:14. Genesis 19:14. It's about Lot. It's about Sodom and Gomorrah. It's saying Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who had married his daughters and said, get up, get out of this place, for Yahuwah is going to destroy the city. But his sons-in-law seemed to be as one, to his son-in-laws, he seemed to be one joking. They didn't take him serious. They didn't believe him. They were absent of belief. Make no mistake, my brothers and sisters, we know what happened to his son-in-laws because they didn't believe. Make no mistake, there are conditions emerging that require us to discern what to do. These conditions require demonstrating belief to avoid being too late and left behind. My brothers and sisters, I want to present to you Amos. Come with me to Amos, chapter 3. Verse 7. For the Master Yahuah does no matter unless he reveals his secret to his servants, the prophets. There are true prophets among us. And there are so many people that think they're prophets and say they're prophets and don't have an idea that a prophet is one who yields his earthen vessel to the Spirit of Yahuah, and Yahuah chooses to speak through him or her. He reveals them to his prophets, and his prophets speak what needs to be heard, what needs to be said, what needs to be taught. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, it is important to know the function of belief, why we must grow and set apartness, to be able to discern whether it's the spirit of the Almighty One or the wicked one that is influencing, whether it's our actions because of how we've been programmed mentally or psychologically, or whether it is the set apart spirit of Yahuah directing our path. It is important to know how to identify true prophets of Abba Yahuah. Learn how to improve ways to examine and avoid falling into the snare of false prophets. Remember, we serve a living Almighty One, and in order to please him, we must understand how to discern his word, Yahusha, the living word, and watch the Spirit takes the letter, the text, that definition of the word, and make it alive by bringing understanding. Remember, Yahusha is our teacher, for it is written in John 14:26 that the Spirit of Yahuah sent his word, his Spirit, in Yahusha's name, to teach us, among other things, and set apartness. Let me read it to you, my brothers and sisters. John 14:25 and 26. Come with me there, my brothers and sisters. Believe these words, but more than anything, believe the life, the living word that makes this text alive. It said, these words I have spoken to you while still with you, but the Helper, the set-apart Spirit whom the Father shall send in my name, he shall teach you all and remind you of all that I've said to you. This is why we need to pray without ceasing, my brothers and sisters, speaking and listening and discerning what the Spirit of Yahuah is saying. I am one whose belief includes expectations of a final exodus. I believe this will occur before the physical return of Yahusha. I further believe the final exodus will produce individuals whose beliefs will contribute to wise guidance for the gathering together of a set-apart nation to fulfill what is promised by the Almighty Father. One way to identify individuals whose beliefs are on point is by thorough examination. Orders from Abba Yahuah connect and do not contradict. Believe it or not, that's what precept upon precept means. Connecting, not contradicting. Listen and watch carefully, my brothers and sisters. What a person says and does, it will lead to true discernment, because we will be able to measure whether there is righteousness or show in their actions and their behaviors. Come with me to Matthew 10:26 and 27. For here we see it reads, therefore do not fear them, for whatever is covered shall be revealed, and whatever is hidden shall be made known. What I say to you in the dark, speak in the light, and what you hear in the ear, proclaim on the housetops. Hear in the ear, beyond the physical ear, believe it or not, is a spiritual ear, my brothers and sisters. He goes on to say, do not fear those who kill the body, but are unable to kill the being, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both being and body in Gehenna. That is Yahuah. Fear him. Learn his voice. Be able to discern him working in us, through us, one towards another. My brothers and sisters, end times are here. There is much work to be done. There's a lot to learn. There are many lessons to learn. Take this message to heart. Without belief, many will face the words too late. Study the many lessons that can be found in the scriptures. Pursue paths that improve our ability to strengthen our belief unwaveringly. reducing doubt, removing doubt, my brothers and sisters. Let us discuss our beliefs. Let us discover the many different views. In some instances, our positions will be strengthened, while in other cases, corrections will be needed to improve our belief as we step into end times, as intensity begins to rear up. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, rise up. The fruit of our Yahuah's discipline and judgment will produce improvement regarding our belief. Remember, O Yashar'al, individuals who ignore the need to please Abba Yahuah will become very acquainted with the words, too late. Movement is coming in these end times, forced migrations. The things that are necessary to fulfill Yahuah's promises will cause us to move, will bring about a final exodus. Know, my brothers and sisters, the importance of belief. Know how to be ahead of the clock by growing in belief. You see, belief, we haven't seen it. But it brings the expectations, it brings the readiness, it brings the preparedness to act and move ahead of waiting till the physical evidence come. Those who wait for the physical evidence may indeed find themselves in a position where too late brings pain and regret. Get ahead of the clock, my brothers and sisters. Belief. Before I end completely, my brothers and sisters, let me say something to you, please. Well, I want to say thank you, but let me say something to those who will indulge me with a little bit more patience. End times are here. There's a lot that need to be done. There will be movement. There will be destruction. There will be physical death. It will ramp up. It's ramping up now. Just because it have not reached our doorstep does not mean things are not ramping up. Please, my brothers and sisters, seek to discern the voice of Yahuah with the intent to worship and obey him. There are those whose belief does not take them to understand how Yashar'al would be gathered, so they're making up their own narratives. There are those who telling you, we're not going to return to one set apart mountain. There's no specific gathering place. Something to that effect. That's a lie. Some of us will die in physical locations because we did not believe. We did not pay attention and obey the orders of the Almighty Father. Some of us would have fell subject to another person's belief that there's sanctuary in this mountain or this place or that place. My brothers and sisters, because of individuals not believing, not discerning, not growing in set apartness, or pursuing their own desires to hang out with this group or that group, much pain will come and they will face too late. It's time to look in the mirror, pray for the one in the mirror, to discern the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah. Study and find the life in the scriptures that join up with the living Spirit, the living instructions of the Almighty Father, and begin to act accordingly. It's time to identify others who do the same and witness how we come and will come close together. If you believe there'll be a final exit, we must ask how would that come to be. And as much as the Almighty Father will show us, there will be some that will not see, blinded because of ill intentions. Yashar'al, I believe there will be those who will grow in discernment and obey and have a ready mind and respond, and there will be others doing the same. But I also believe there will be those that will be part of the gathering that will become physically weak because of conditions, whether it be death, sickness, disease, famine, hunger. We become so physically weak that then we will fall on our knees and cry before Yahuah and find then we discover his voice working in us, through us, one towards another, or directly to us. And we will move in that vein to draw closer together. And there will be those left behind. It's time to choose, my brothers and sisters. It's time to have discussions on belief. It's time to grow strong in belief. It's time to understand what the expectation should be and act. Let us establish a ready mind, body, and soul, my brothers and sisters. Anything else would be too late. Don't fall in that category. My brother, my sister, my family, be encouraged. And I pray that this message stirred your spirit on the matter of belief. At the very least, to discuss and pursue belief, growing in set apartness, being able to identify what is indeed set apart and righteous versus what is not. On that note, to you, my brother, my sister, my family, pray, discern, respond, consider supporting, sponsor, acting to help those that are growing in set apartness and that will be brought together. You may be one physically brought together with other brothers and sisters where we come together. Or you may be one who struggle with belief and find yourself facing too late. But this day, this time, pray and discern. Are you to help? Are you to support? Are you to sponsor? Are your actions geared towards the building up of a set-apart nation? What will you do, O Yashar'al? Help me. Help those that are pursuing set-apartness. And in doing so, you may find yourself doing something that will help you in the days ahead. Enough said, my brothers and sisters. Again, thank you for your patience. Be encouraged. End times are here. Our redemption becomes clearer and clearer with each day ahead. Shalom.